green, Timothy Jansen with an Esper mid-range deck, and Blake Kettle with a Naya Humans deck. So 6 spots spoken for.
So I'm actually going to tell you, I am going to, in this tournament, be rooting for Mono Green.
Mono Green.
Mike Alakela, I hope that you win this tournament. But meanwhile, Austin Fritz on the left, Joseph Price on the right, Black-White Control versus Nyapod. One of the things I think, is it true that we have a couple of people with 2 losses who are potentially have a shot?
We do. These guys are both have different records than each other, but we have Joshua Kincaid and Clayton Palmer both live for top 8 with 1 loss. All right, so Austin Fritz leads off with in his Nyapod deck with an Absence Pilgrim. Joseph Price, his Black Control deck, plays Iker Wellspring on turn 2. I've seen these style decks actually on Magic Online a bit, the Joseph Price style deck. Fairly interesting. They play a lot. We saw earlier a deck, Anthony Eason playing a mono black control deck that was very artifact heavy. These decks are similar in a lot of ways, except they're playing Lingering Souls. My guess is in the end they're probably a little bit stronger than the mono black one we saw.
The thing I like about the mono black is Mutilate is really powerful. But honestly, Lingering Souls is one of the powerhouses of the format. Being able to play Lingering Souls is great.
You can play Day of Judgment. You know, you have white. It's not as good as Mutilate, but it's a fine card.
It's sometimes better than Mutilate.
All right.
I mean, Mutilate has the ability to kill a Thrun, and Day of Judgment has the ability to kill a really high toughness creature.
So we have a Sword of Feast and Famine turn 2 from Austin Fritz. And now both colors online for Price. He's going to pass back the turn. All right, so now this looks dangerous. Do you think, is he trying to bait Austin Fritz to time walk himself here? He's either cold with a Sword of Feast and Famine or he's baiting him. This is one of those interesting plays here for Austin.
I mean, I think you have to look at your hand, which I cannot see, and make a decision. Is a play better than the chance of getting hit? And I don't know what is in Austin's hand. He's guarding it pretty well.
Yeah, I would think he has the kill spell, and he does. So Austin can float a mana here. So it's the mana play, Sun Petal Grove, but no other plays for Austin, so he succeeds in time walking him. Yeah, you really have to wonder what other plays Austin had available. And Pristine Talisman from Joseph Price. Dangerous here for Austin because Joe is now set up to make a Worm Coil, and Joe's still at 20.
I am so much just in love with Pristine Talisman. Just that little incremental life, it's practically like Creature Kill at first.
Yeah.
And then once you actually sweep the board up with whatever you sweep the board up with, it becomes like Creature Kill again. Oh, look at that. Nothing there.
Nothing from, I mean, it's probably a Restoration Angel from him. I can't believe he has no plays.
Yeah, even so,
I just refuse to believe that there's not a Restoration Angel in Austin's hand right now.
A Restoration Angel
it's not enough.
Is not very exciting right now.
Not at all, but I mean, it's got to be what he has.
2 mana, another
bump Wellspring. He's got that engine going. Joseph Price going to bait him to tap out. All right, and Oblivion Ring on Sword of Feast and Famine. Very strong play here. Now, I mean, he can make the Restoration Angel, which he will, but, doesn't do as much. Unless he has another sword right now, he could really give him a what for. He's going to O-Ring the O-Ring, which is as good as another sword. Sword hit Joseph Price 5 down to 18. Austin will untap his lands. Strong play here by Austin Fritz. Joseph has gained a little bit of life, though. The Phyrexia's Core, not too shabby at that.
I can't see what he discarded at all. Slightly off camera. I see a Lingering Souls in his hand, though. Am I wrong? No, that's a Terminus.
No, that's a Mycosynth Wellspring and a Terminus.
Terminus. I was mistaking that Terminus for a Lingering Souls.
Yeah, Sorin.
Ooh. The big Sorin, not the little Sorin.
Right. Yeah, he could be playing both. He is black-white. So, post-combat, Austin gets more mana. He's going to, all right, a Johnny Caller of the Pride. One of the first we've seen of him today.
I have not seen that before this game.
All right, here's our first trial run with what we think of a Johnny. Like, do you like that more than a Blade Splicer here? That would be, one of your first calls, or more than a Silver Blade Paladin or some other card.
I think some other 3 casting
Three casting cost card,
Joseph without a mana here. This is actually very scary that he missed that mana. And he sacrifices to get a swamp. There we go.
Yeah, and Johnny called the price just a one of in Austin Fritz's deck. So his deck not actually a Naiad deck. It doesn't have any red cards in it. It's actually, he's just a green-white deck. So.
Okay.
I mean, he has a gut shot in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so to be fair.
Selesnya doesn't come off the tongue as well. Green-white pod.
Yeah, and actually just one birthing pod. Austin looks like his deck has a lot of one-ups. It's kind of a mishmash thing going on. It's pretty cool, though. All right, so we see the play with the Solemn. Joseph Price establishing a lot of good card advantage on the board, but he now needs to do something with it.
I mean, he has a hand of Terminus. What else does he have? I mean...
Man, these decks really, Joseph Price's decks remind me of the Scars block constructed control decks a lot.
Nice. That's nice. A good comparison.
They were good. They had these card advantage engines. One of the problems with them, the biggest downfall of them, was you had no card selection. So you're kind of just like dinking around with some Wellsprings and some stuff and killing some things, and you kind of just hope you got the right cards in the end.
7 damage from the Angel, and we have a Johnny now at 6. Black Sun Zenith is discarded. We're going to see an attack from this Solemn Simulacrum, and then I predict a Terminus. Attack you, Johnny.
I mean, the Terminus is pretty sad because Austin really hasn't committed to the board much.
He doesn't need to with that, Johnny.
No.
Terminus. And this is also sad because the Solemn Simulacrum will not trigger. Just goes to the bottom and does not trigger.
Yeah, Austin's got to be pretty happy with that. You know, one creature. Maybe Austin has another Restoration
I wouldn't
Angel.
be surprised.
No, and he
and
does.
a turn.
Gosh.
There it is.
No reprieve at all. Austin in firm control here.
And Joseph trying to find something to do here that's... Yeah, he didn't tap the correct mana, so he had to fix it. He has to spend white on that, not white-black.
Right.
Now this is a Sorin's Vengeance deck, so Sorin Markov plus Sorin's Vengeance is a straight-up 2-card combo kill.
And so yeah, Austin Fritz gonna come in, waiting on that equip. And Austin thinking pretty hard here.
He's a local PTQ.
Yeah. Thinking here, Austin, this will be his, if he manages to win this, will be his first Star City Open top 8. Austin Fritz is a PTQ grinder from the, I believe it's from the Nebraska area. He's in a few of the Midwest events. Strong enough, fairly strong player.
I mean, he's qualified for the Pro Tour before. And he does have 3 top 32s at SCG Opens, so... I think we might be seeing a warning being given to Joseph Price about his mistapping of mana before. It didn't change what he cast,
yeah,
but I think it's just a warning.
I can't believe it has bad intention, mainly for the reason that his whole hand's gone.
Yeah,
you know,
and also...
they're leaving a mana representation doesn't matter, really.
Yeah, and, you know, and on top of that, he doesn't actually have any spells in his deck that cost 1. So he couldn't do anything with the mana.
Right.
a Johnny slowly ticking up here. And goodbye last card in hand, Joseph Price.
Man, and the one thing about black, yeah, a lot of his in removal is sorcery speed. So and still, Austin Fritz has, you know, a commanding board. So like a lot of cards left in his hand. One of the things interesting, you know, so I still want to look at Ajani. He's going to pack it in. Ajani did something there. Was it necessary? Was it, you know? I am still a doubter on the card. I'll be up front.
I can tell you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm unconvinced it did anything that game.
What did it do? What did it do?
Put some counters on Arresto Angel.
It did 3 damage, and because it did, actually, pardon me, it did 4 damage.
Yes, 1, then 2, then 1.
1, then 2, then 1, and effectively that damage that survived through a Terminus, and it demanded a creature attack it, or else it would have been at that point in the game, because he had it back up to 6 again. It would have been an 8. And so the 8 then threatens, at that point, something
against a deck like Black White Control, which is so grindy and so not like hopes to win by doing nothing. I think it's a Planeswalker. Is the, you know, it can ultimate. It's a Planeswalker, so you know you got to do something.
The other thing it did though is it did threaten the kill a turn sooner,
with
like Joseph with the -3 ability.
Okay, so force Joseph to Terminus in a spot he might not have otherwise done.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he would have done it anyway. That's a good point. I'll give Johnny a pass for that game. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about it, right? Austin didn't need to -3 at that turn because Joseph had 3 cards in his hand at that point. But if he'd had 2 in his hand, he could have been double strike to the air. And by the way, the to the air, I'm gonna say a shout out to Jamie Park for bringing to the air way back in the day at I want to say Worlds in Seattle. That bit of verbal technology, but regardless, he actually put Joseph in a position where he was required to Terminus, or else he was going to lose his hand.
Right. So let's look at some sideboards for these guys. Austin Fritz, his deck is so full of 1-ofs. Let me go over some of the cards in his deck. It starts out as a traditional green-white deck. Birds of Paradise, Strangleroot Geist, Avacyn's Pilgrim, Blade Splicer, Restoration Angel. That's your base, and we're fine with that. It has 3 Rancors, so it's definitely on a little guy's plan. You know, 2 Gavoni Townships. Play some 3 Swords. Then it kind of goes a little weirder. It has a couple Thrag Tusks, a Birthing Pod, a Gut Shot, and a Johnny. Still an aggressive number, I think, for the most part. Out of the board, he gets a bunch of different things. He kind of transforms. He has a lot of ways to makes his deck bigger. He has Ratchet Bombs, Sigarda, Purge, Gideon Jura, 2 Hero Playhold, 1 Mental Misstep. That seems a little out of place to me, but maybe there's something in particular he's trying to fight.
I mean, he could also be doing. This is a huge stretch, by the way. He could also be being like, well, I want to stop just once a Vapor Snag. At one point, you know, just 1 Vapor Snag. Just let me have 1 hit. But I mean, at that point, I would rather have a spell like Apostle's Blessing.
Right. Well, Misstep costs 0. There's that advantage. But I do think I'd rather have an Apostle's Blessing. If I want something that's protective and reactive, I'd want to be more broadly protective.
I mean, that's the only thing I got.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out where it comes from. I do think that one of the things that we might see, Austin Fritz, he's playing against a deck that he knows has Wrath effects. I think he might bring in Gideon, even if Gideon can be hit by a Doomblade or something like that, just because it dodges the Wrath.
It's interesting. Yeah, Gideon, there aren't that many answers in Joseph Price's deck to Gideon Jura. And it will resolve. He gets to know that all his spells are resolved. Black-White doesn't counter anything.
One of the things I love about Gideon is that Gideon, in an aggressive deck versus a controlling deck, sometimes can just be incredibly difficult to deal with. You know, even if it's something like this, Gideon says, attack me. And you're like, but you're the aggressive deck. Why are you doing that? Well, because it's going to tap down all of his spirits and his Psalm Simulacrum. And I actually don't care that Gideon's being hit. I can even block some of this stuff.
Sure. What I really think is interesting, I was looking actually at our whole top 8 here. It looks like we're only going to have 1 Delver deck in the top 8. Just thinking about that for a second here. It's kind of an interesting change. A lot, and no Delver Grow decks, which were kind of the trendy thing. You liked that word earlier. You know, when you talk about what's the best deck, well, I'm not sure, but I can tell you what the trendy deck is. I would say Grow Delver was certainly the trendy deck for today.
And you know, the thing about Magic these days at the tournament level, trendy decks tend to get pummeled out of the metagame very quickly because they get a couple of moments in the sun, and we can say sunlight is the great disinfectant, and those decks just kind of go away.
Sure. Which is, I mean, we see rare cases where that doesn't happen. Say, for example, Cawblade. Cawblade, which is why it got banned.
That's because that deck was more than trendy.
It was just better than everything.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Birds of Paradise from Austin and Joseph Price with the innocuous Iker Wellspring, the bump.
You know, I have to say, never been a fan of any of the Wellsprings, even with Phyrexia's Core.
I mean, in Block Constructed, it was the best card advantage engine for control decks.
Yeah,
which is a problem. It says something about control decks in the format.
It's just one of those things where the amount of time it takes to do it just takes forever. Sword of Feast of
This is
Famine.
reminiscent of last
Ouch.
game, actually.
Now Joseph really is going to want either a Black Sun Zenith or a Doomblade.
Another
Not that.
Wellspring.
Not that.
This didn't work out very well for Price last time. He's not even representing. He's representing a Dismember, possibly, which he doesn't play. Crash it on in, you know?
Yeah.
The only reason Fritz might play, an off M10 duel first if he wanted to untap that instead, but now just crash it and get it. Go with the hand.
In. Take 2. Joseph has the card set aside.
And here we go again. Terminus. Gone.
Untap. Austin with no third land.
Are we sure?
I think he might have played it before combat. Maybe. He's
it's something to play with.
He's doing a post-combat pause here.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't have another land. May not need it.
Oh, he's got a land. There it is.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay, Blades Splicer. Tim Ayton.
Oh man,
He keeps
he's a
showing up.
golem.
And just shy of doing anything useful. Pristine Talisman.
No, and Joseph doesn't even have a Wrath represented here. Oh, no land. This is...
This is really bad for Joseph.
Remember, winner of this will be in top 8.
Personally, I'm hoping that green-white takes it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's gotta leave. I mean, boy, is he favorable right now.
You know, I don't even know that I'd call this a birthing pod deck, actually. It's just green-white aggro.
It has a birthing pod in it, if that's, you know, sort of War and Peace. Comes down, this is a green-white aggro.
This is green-white aggro.
With I mean, it's just a green-white aggro, and he added Rancor to it. Rancor's great with swords. Interesting actually. Well, it's good with Sword of War and Peace. It's not really good with the other swords. But it's very good with Sword of War and Peace. And this time a Sever the Bloodline was discarded. Joseph Price's hand is a Day of Judgment and a Gideon Jura, and not a white mana in sight. You know, this just seems done.
Double swords for the bird.
So now it has pro-white and pro-black, I see.
Lingering souls hanging out.
And he still has no white mana.
Hopefully he can draw one.
Sure, I don't even know if that's enough.
2 life for him.
Draws another card.
Hey!
Oh, there we go. Isolated Chapel. Okay. I mean, the problem is pro-white is pro-white's a heck of a thing against the Sword of War and Peace. He's got to make it to that Day of Judgment next turn. I don't even know if that's enough.
I mean, he could top deck a Terminus.
Could Miracle a Terminus. That'd be pretty good. But there's still both swords there. It's good. I don't even still know if that's game winning.
Okay, if you are listening very closely in the background, you can hear the loud sounds of a wedding party's dance party next door.
Is that a Zenith in his hand? Possibly?
It is.
Okay, well, 1-2, we can Zenith for 3. The sword's still connect at that price, unfortunately.
It's funny, I've definitely actually seen players out in the room, no joke, dancing a little bit to the music. I don't know if you can hear it. In comes the whole team. A Strangleroot Geist joins the party. Blade Splicer, Geist, Golem, and a bird carrying a lot of weapons. And he does the blocks that he needs to do in order to make the Day of Judgment a little bit less, a little bit more of an actual possible answer.
He's going to discard Soren's Vengeance.
I think that's Def Leppard that's being played next door.
It's I Love Rock and Roll, I think.
Oh, is it Joan Jett?
I'm not sure.
And does he have the planes? Does he have the white source?
No, and that will... 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For 4.
Send it for 4, alright. Nothing deals damage now. Except
now, the bird is still alive. It just is a 0-1 with the swords on it.
Yeah. Remember, that Strangleroot Geist does not come back.
Yeah, you would think it would, but that actually is not how the rules work.
Yeah, it's... But it has to do with both state-based effects check simultaneously, therefore it's... Yes, I mean, the more... Make a long story short, it does not come back.
Has Joseph Price stabilized?
For now. Still 2 swords on the battlefield. But yeah, he is stabilized for now. He still needs another white mana to get a Gideon Jura down.
And he does have a Phyrexian Core to make his Wellspring into cards, so...
Austin also has a Strangleroot Geist in hand, though.
Ooh. And did he get a 4th mana or no?
He can only hope. I don't think he did.
I don't think... Oh, but
Well,
the birds is a
4th
mana.
Yeah.
It might have swords on it, but it still taps for mana.
So birds can sword... Okay, so you can birds, sword with Feast and Famine, untap your lands, equip the other sword, go. Sillier play, but... I think that's what you do. Puts him down to... very low life total.
Here's 4 mana. Oh, or Geist instead. I like the sword play instead.
Well, you could have the same situation, have Joseph at 5 and then have 2. Yeah, it's close. I think I do too.
I like the sword play because I mean a terminus here actually matters. There is no terminus, but it. Okay. Oh,
the second one, Gideon Jura is now down.
So he can actually drop a Gideon, have it be attacked. Oh, that'll actually be a dead Gideon then.
How will that be a dead Gideon?
It would be a dead Gideon
because he equips both swords.
Yeah, both swords.
Yep.
But I mean, you might have to.
Well,
that just might be
it's
what you
better
have to
than
do.
Day of Judgment.
And actually, wait, you can cast Gideon Flashback Lingering Souls.
Then you're only dead to the Sword of War and Beast. So Gideon. Maybe Joseph Price hanging on by a thread.
And
trying to get that top 8. Lingering Souls for 2 1/1s.
He's got Sever the Bloodline in his grave.
Ooh.
Next turn, he can sever the Strangleroot Geists. Because unless Austin
Well, how
can
come he didn't do it this turn? Yeah, I think he could have done that this turn.
That's fair. He could do it this turn, you're right, that is 7 mana.
I think he missed it. And we missed it too, to be fair. But... And there's no way to... There's no way to really protect from that either.
Yeah. Austin contemplating moving a sword off of his bird. The moment he does so, the bird will die.
Yep, so they better make sure that first move is does that. Austin operating on a dearth of lands here.
O-ring. Oh boy.
Well, the weird part about casting O-ring here is it does give Joseph Price another chance to find the Sever play.
Yeah, the day works now because the double block 1/1 means that the Geist both dead. Day of Judgment will answer.
Yeah, and despite those dice, that Gideon is gone.
Yeah, there we go.
are.
Gideon is a 0. And he's got a Doomblade. I think he's going to win this game.
We'll see. He's still. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Oh, there's the Sever.
At that point, I almost just want a day.
I would prefer to day here. I mean, at that point, it
Well,
definitely
you get the bird too, and I
bird
want
is
the
mana.
bird. The bird's mana.
Bird is mana. Like, you can do that later.
So Austin Fritz just trying to find a way to get 5 more damage across.
Oh, wow. A Johnny in hand.
Well, he could do a Johnny and he could start eliminating the counters from the
Right.
birds.
Actually, that would, I think, kill Joseph.
Wait, what
does
is
he
it
have
right
4
now?
cards? It would be 1
No.
damage plus the cards in hand. How many cards
Well,
does
you have to
Joseph
tap the birds. Well, you can't do that. The birds have pro white. What am I talking about?
Oh, yeah, pro
and,
white.
Yeah, and you have to tap the birds to cast the Ajani.
Darn
So,
it,
okay, never
darn
mind.
it, darn
a bunch
it,
of
darn it.
reasons. it doesn't
Reality
work.
getting in the way of
Yeah.
all of this fun stuff.
Swords apparently give protection from your stuff too. It's not just like a hexproof style thing. You know. Fair enough. So,
Austin looking for a good play here. God, Restoration Angel would be pretty awesome. No,
well, no,
it
you
doesn't
can't.
reset,
Pro
you
white,
can't target
pro
it.
white,
God
pro white.
darn it. Gosh darn it.
still has pro white since our last suggestion. Absence Pilgrim.
Okay, there's a Pilgrim.
A Johnny
There's a
Caller
Johnny.
of the Pride. Counter on Pilgrim. Oh, ever so tentatively.
Gingerly putting it down, in fact.
Yes.
And a 4th land. Okay.
All right. Day. Well, I think we're going to see Day in core.
Oh, he's got 2 days? No. Just
Same
day.
one.
Okay. Day, Doomblade, and...
Black Sun? I think it's Black Sun.
It is Black Sun.
He has a plethora of ways to kill things. He does have to watch out for the Johnny Ultimate though. That could get him.
What do you do here? Did you do the day or the Black Sun?
I
I do the Black Sun for 2.
Yeah. Well, I probably core.
Oh, actually,
I'd
you
core
do the
first.
day. You do the day because the Black Suns can kill a Thrun.
There's no Thrun in this deck.
Well, he doesn't know that.
Okay. Boston doesn't have 6 lands in play.
He could someday.
Yeah, I'm keeping the day. And then I'm going to core this Wellspring and gain a life.
I would wait on that though, just because. Oh wait, was that his only 2 black? Does he have?
What if I drew a land? I want to play the land if I draw it. And it's not like I have another spell. He didn't. Yeah, he had to spend both his black. He doesn't have go for the throat up. He doesn't have anything up. Nah, just.
Yeah, so day is actually better just to keep go for the throat up. I think.
Sure.
That's real. I mean, that's real. Because actually, with the Johnny, he'd be dead. A Strangleroot Geist
Yeah.
plus sword plus a Johnny is death.
There's a bunch of things he's dead too. One of them being like Restoration Angel. Yeah, so I guess he'd want to keep that up to not die to a Resto Angel. I mean, the bigger problem is he's got to attack this Johnny. But Joseph goes 7 from the Phyrexia's core.
Another go
go.
for throat.
So remind us, the Johnny's ultimate. It's something with making lots of cats.
It's a 2/2 cats for every point of life that you have.
Oh, okay, so it's one of those I win things. All right, and the Restoration Nails there. He's going to Doomblade that while Fritz is tapped out. He could have gotten greedy and waited for the equip actually, which I think I would have done.
Yeah, just to tie up the mana.
Oh yeah, you know. Yeah, show him.
And who knows, maybe Austin will -3 it.
Yeah. Like, what if Austin drew Thragtusk right here? And then he'd have to make this decision between trying to win and trying to Thragtusk, and I think it'd be cool. It's gonna buried ruin the Iker Wellspring on end step.
And a little bit more life here and there from the Pristine Talisman. And there's another Wellspring.
Alright, so, I mean, we're seeing Joseph in control's game except for that Planeswalker. Let's see if the cat's gonna get there. I mean, he has the Zenith for the cats. It's not actually game over to a Johnny Ultimate.
True.
No, we just can blow them all up, whatever.
I mean, it requires another one, though.
And yep, it's gonna have to go for the throat it.
Doomblade go for the throat in response.
And Johnny now at 8.
And
Ready to make his cat army.
And Joseph still hanging on to
gaining a life, drawing a card, he's getting back in this. Digging, remember these guys playing for their top 8 life in the tournament. It's good to know if they draw here. If a draw happens here, Joseph Price will be in top 8, and Austin Fritz will miss top 8 with a draw.
Joseph is paired down here.
So yeah, so Joseph, he can win game 2, has no problem with the fact that this clock might be getting a little long. You actually can play a very defensive game 3 if it comes to that.
All untapped. Austin, probably a little gun shy on losing the a Johnny yet. He brings up a Johnny yet again.
No reason. I think Austin's playing it exactly right.
That's correct. He might as well, if he goes for all of the cats, still having a Johnny around afterwards.
Right. All of the cats.
All of the cats.
All 24 of them. Austin just with lands in hand now. The lands he couldn't draw early on, now he's getting a lot of them. I like Joseph right now, actually, in this matchup, in this game.
This game, he's looking pretty good.
I mean, I want the deck guy. This is what I talked about though when I was talking about how a block constructed Scars control decks were really awkward. Like, how many control decks do you know that can have 8 lands in play, 9 lands, a pristine talisman, gaining life, and aren't winning? And they're just sitting there and they'll be like, can't win, can't win.
Isn't he winning right now?
Well, but do you see what I mean? How it's like it's still kind of in doubt.
Yeah, there is doubt.
There's doubt about it. And
I mean, particularly because Austin could just end of turn something,
right,
or
end
hit
of turn
something and win.
Right. So anyone who played Scars block constructed, this was the horrible part about playing control decks in Scars block is this happened to you frequently.
And Austin has put a single Tim Ayton in play to represent 24 cats. Okay, I think the judge has given him 24 cats.
I doubt that.
I see some cats over to the side there. I know
Johnny has called the Pride, as is his title.
Right.
He's called the entire Pride.
And he equips one of the cats. Oh, they're out of tokens. We got Facebook and Twitter advertisements. We got other fun things over there.
We got some baseball cards. And, the 2 of clubs.
That is a lot of cats, though. 24 cats. I mean, it's like it's some sort of like springtime moment with all of these cats running around. It's
Another
April.
sword?
They're having a good time.
Is that another sword? Sure, another sword.
And unfortunately,
and then a bunch of dead cats.
I think that we're going to see
dead cats all over the place.
Oh no!
Oh, it's I don't want to look at it. It's just tragedy.
And the one cat carrying a sword is very, very scary looking. But unfortunately,
it's just,
a Black Sun Zenith is
gruesome.
more than enough.
Just dead cats. It's just terrible.
Almost all the cats are just off screen, unfortunately. So you don't have to see most of their gruesome deaths. Only the death of the one cat carrying the sword do we witness on camera.
Someone's going to have to come and clean up the battlefield. Just horrible.
I mean, a lot of people, I think, would not have been prepared to see that many cats die at once.
I just want to think, like, man, what I wouldn't give for, I have a blood artist right there.
It's funny, if Joseph had a blood artist in play,
he would have just
Austin would have just died. All you need is one vampire. Actually, there's 2 different vampires that would have done it. The Falcon Wrath.
Falcon Wrath, no. Right, he's also a vampire. You can't ultimate in a Johnny Collar the Pride if your opponent has a Bloodseeker in play. It never works.
Lingering Souls finally drawn from Joseph Price.
All right, well, Johnny's going to go down here. Do you play both halves or just one half of the
I
souls?
would play just one half. I think he's doing both halves.
I would play both. Why would you? I'm curious about your decision
He's
to play
got the
one.
Day of Judgment in hand.
And he might have to pull the trigger on it?
He might have to cast it again. He might have to...
Okay. If Austin makes Thragtusk, he's going to have to blow it. Well, actually, Thragtusk is just... is a problem. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems that Austin can present.
Yeah, Thragtusk you can't even beat. So, yeah. Any creature will make him force... Any creature from Austin will force Joseph to play his day because of the pro-white. I think only one set of souls. Souls aren't really that good here because...
It's just a little... a couple of small ghosts.
Yeah. So what he's actually looking for is he has one Gristlebrand. That would probably win him the game
I
on the
think he's
spot.
also looking for one Karn, the Karn Liberated.
The Karn Liberated would be great.
Because if he could just have his robot take care of the swords, that would be okay.
Yeah, a Soren Markov would be good.
To be fair, I don't know if Karn likes to be called a robot.
Wormcoil Engine maybe not so good because of a Johnny's ability to jump something.
I mean, all the Wormcoil Engine has to do, though, is hit once.
So if Joseph, no, everyone's saying is if Joseph played Wormcoil and then Austin played Birds of Paradise, Austin wins.
And
they don't try anything else.
Flooding out. Land
He
go.
just needs a creature. Any creature will do, but...
Is that an O-ring?
That looks like an O-ring. You save that. Oh, man.
Is that an O-ring? Oh, if it's... Actually, I would... After combat, I would put it on the other opponent's O-ring.
And get Gideon?
Dead a Johnny.
No, I
Get the
believe it's a
Gideon
land.
back.
I think it's,
Oh, it's not an O-ring?
I think it's a Ghost Quarter.
Ghost Quarter. Boo.
Austin's gonna draw a creature here. I still... Boy. Man,
No.
how many controllers can have this many lands and not win? Ah!
Not anymore. Not anymore. Austin Fritz, 2 Swords of Feast and Famine, 1 Sword of War and Peace, facing down 4 ghosts and a black-white control player who
Draws
forgot to
another
gain a
Day
life
of
that last
Judgment.
turn. Oh, he must have verbally announced it. The life did go up.
This black-white deck, just the slowest of things, but it's getting there. Just Austin needs a creature. Any creature. His green-white creatures deck. He's playing green-white. He should have a creature in play. That's all the deck does.
The number of non-creatures he has is very small.
Yeah. Especially post-board. I can't even imagine he kept the dismembers in. He has to have, like... He has some rancors. And those 3 swords you see. And everything and an O-ring, which you already see. You see,
Go ahead.
you see all his non-creatures already on the battlefield. This has to just be his hands all lands. That's depressing.
O-ring the O-ring. Ouch.
Getting Gideon, Mr. Jura back.
Gideon Jura.
And I think you Superman the Gideon and you just... Oh no, he's plussing it. I would have done a pre-combat and Supermaned it. Well, maybe this is safer so that you don't lose to Restoration Angel.
But it would be sick, right?
Oh, it would be. Oh gosh.
Yep.
Right, you can't do that. Ah, terrible plays suggested by the commentator.
And revoke. I don't like revoke afterboard.
Oh, I disagree. I disagree. Most of Joseph Price has a lot of he has a lot of artifacts going on in the deck.
I don't want to be answering. I want to be threatening. I like O-ring a little bit better because at least I can hit almost
Well,
everything.
I think what I'm worried about is if Joseph drops a Wormcoil Engine, I want to revoke it. And granted, he could have a core in play, but still, like, I'll stand behind the revoke there. And think about it. If he could have revoked that Pristine Talisman on curve, how much life would have Joseph Price not gained? It's like,
about 11, maybe more.
So Stone Rain Blade don't gain 11 is good. Like, I don't know. I think it's fine. Iker Wellspring, Joseph Price in control.
Gaining a life again.
Now I'm gonna say, despite that Joseph Price has taken this game back, I find it improbable that Joseph was able to do this. I think Austin kind of got varianced out here. All he needed was a creature, but now a creature doesn't do it. For the life of him, Austin can't draw a creature, and he's losing to Lingering Souls.
I mean, another land.
Gosh. Joseph back up to his initial 20. So if you're Joseph, do you slow down here?
I mean, I play at a normal pace. Joseph seems to be playing very fast. I don't know that
I think Joseph doesn't realize. I think Joseph thinks he's got to win. And what Joseph doesn't realize is he's in with a draw. Austin's the one that's got to win.
And you know, that's actually a huge thing, is realizing what the actual stakes are in a game. I was talking with Bob Maher the other day, and he watched a replay of a match I had on a PTQ. I won a very long game 1, and I was like, "Oh, I've got to win game 2. I've got to win game 2. I've only got 2.5 or 4 minutes to win game 2."
It's like, dude, you're in with the draw.
and well, no, this was on Magic Online, but my opponent, Bob, was like watching later and told me, "You know what? You should have just pushed F6 the whole match." "What do you mean?" I said. Well, there's no way your opponent can win 2 games in 8 minutes. He might have twice as much time, but his deck was super slow too.
Yeah.
So there's just no way for my opponent to win. I didn't even think about it. You know, like.
So Joseph Price claws his way back in, wins game 2. What an amazing game!
Right.
That was super impressive from his black-white control deck.
Like, I do think that Joseph is missing the fact that
he's in with the draw.
has to win with a draw. I mean, sometimes we miss those subtleties.
Yep.
And I mean, it happens all the time. I know I've been in numerous situations where if I had the better knowledge about something like that, I would have definitely won a match, or I would have definitely made a top 8, but I just didn't know the bigger knowledge of the function of what's happening in a tournament.
Right, and what I've always said about that, do your standings math. If standings math is hard for you, find a friend who's good at standings math and ask him. But know where you stand in a bubble round at least. In the last round, you should know. That this stuff matters.
That kind of knowledge about just what your actual goals are in a match can be super critical. If all you need to do is draw, it can change your decisions. Like, let's pretend Joseph Price could have played at a totally natural pace where he wasn't trying to eat the clock, but he simply wasn't trying to rush. And there might be one less minute on the clock.
Right.
I mean, there is a big difference between trying to milk the clock. That you are going into the land of cheating and unsportsmanlike conduct. But you're not obligated at the same pace, or at the same token, you're not obligated to play at an accelerated pace. You
Right.
can still take your turn at a reasonable pace.
Now, what is your sportsmanship call? Say if Joseph Price, now this is an interesting situation because I've been asked this, whether people think this is, so obviously if Joseph Price had slowed down to get a draw, that's unsportsmanlike and you can be disqualified, right?
In theory, it's possible, but it's
Now,
very hard to
what if-
actually call
What
it.
if Joseph Price had instead opted to only make 2 souls and lingering souls, had a hand of unbeatable kill spells and wraths, and just attacked for 1? And just made very legal plays, played at a reasonable pace, but played to just not win very fast.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And,
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Austin can concede at any time.
Right, I actually had this situation once. This is one of my jokes. I played a high tide deck in Legacies. I knew I was going to win game 1, and it had been a very long game when I started. Like, a high tide player in Legacy can combo for 50 minutes consecutively if they would like to. Like, I can just not brain freeze you, cast my entire deck. I could just keep playing cards for 50 minutes. And so some people have advocated, should I do that until you concede?
There's a real risk in that. For example, this can happen. Here's the risk that's real. Your opponent can wait until there is a sufficient amount of time left for them to win 2 games, and then concede so that they can get in 2 game wins. And if they win the next game, you're in a position where you have to go off on a particular turn, which maybe you're not prepared to.
Sure.
That's.
But with that calculated risk, we determined there's nothing unsporting about simply playing Magic for 50 minutes.
I don't think there's anything unsporting about that.
Okay.
I mean, it's certainly something that your opponent has utter control over. The inventor of the tournament report, John Schuler, at the U.S. Nationals Open Tournament in 1990, I want to say 8, he very famously started making very bad plays in the single elimination rounds. This is when these were 100 and some player tournaments. And what he would do is he would have the game completely locked up with recurse survival and just start making bad plays on purpose so that his opponent would just keep playing game 1. Because the thing about it is, in single elimination, in the first game, high life total wins. And he would be like, oh, I forgot to do something. Okay, your turn.
Yeah.
And his opponent would just keep playing and keep playing and keep playing. And then one round he was playing in at the top 16, and his opponent was like, God, you could have just beaten me by... No. Concede. Game 2. The realization that came over his face was awesome.
Keep in mind,
Turn 1. Sun Petal versus Chapel. Slow starts like this favor Joseph Price. 8.5 minutes remain, in theory. You can see one of our new innovations here at Star City Games. That clock is not always accurate, but we try to bring it as accurate as possible throughout the match.
Yep. Remember here, what we've been saying.
What's happening that he's
you're
shuffling
about to
his
hear
deck
over
with...
in a couple minutes, you're going to hear a announcement of loudspeaker about time in the round. These guys are on a slight extension.
Oh, I figured out which wellspring.
Yes, this is the this is land wellspring.
I saw the Icar wellspring in my brain. For those of you who are just joining us, this is the 10th round of Swiss. 10th of 10, 422 players. These two players are currently playing for top 8. If they get a draw, Joseph Price makes top 8. If Joseph Price wins, well, he obviously makes top 8. Austin Fritz needs to win this.
Yeah.
Hero of Bladehold, the one creature army, is a good way to start it. Pristine Talisman. Is there a Day of Judgment? There's not a Day of Judgment in Joseph Price's hand.
This is exactly how Austin needs to win this game. If you wanted to win a game and win a game in 5 minutes, Hero of Bladehold is top of your list of ways to do that.
Turn 3 Hero. Austin now with no actual answer to it.
Joseph with no answer to it.
Sorry, Joseph
Yeah.
with no answer to it. The best he can do is put down some Lingering Souls to stem the bleeding.
One of the dangers of especially this kind of style deck from Joseph is a lot of his cards are just kind of a little do-nothing-y. That's like the biggest complaint about the Wellsprings is, at the end of the day, they're 2 mana to not do much.
Yeah, I mean, a Black Sun in hand will stem the bleeding.
And
Rancor.
All in on this.
Joseph has not even seen this match yet.
So swing for 5, 6, 7,
8,
9 damage. No, 10. 10.
5,
5,
6,
10. The
10.
birds exalt.
10, that's half your
Battle
life.
Cries. Half your life, go. Now we're going to...
And
a
sword.
Guys, if he's in front of the creature, I was going to say don't do that.
Austin goes to 11 with it and does not draw a
has a Lingering Souls.
Terminus or a Day of Judgment. A Black Sun Zenith for 2 here helps a little bit.
Souls may buy him a turn. I think he can buy himself 1 turn with Lingering Souls.
By Soul.
So jump. Oh god, it has trample. I don't even know if that works there. No, you have to block all the soldier tokens because they're all 2/1s. There'll be 4 2/1s. You trade with all 4 of the 2/1s, and you'll take 5, 6, 7, 8, and discard a card, and he gets an untap.
I love your cheer here.
Like, sure, we're maybe alive for another turn until we draw this possible terminus.
Black Suns for 3 gain a life. This clears the board of everybody except for the hero. And Joseph Price is miraculously at 112 life. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, 12 life. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8 damage coming in from Austin on the next turn, presuming nothing else happens.
Right, so yeah, we have...
Back to you, says Joseph. And Austin equips, I think, and then gets in for 8. It's a lot of do-nothing in Joseph's hand.
Absolutely.
Equip. And actually, pardon me, it's going to be equip and attack for 6. My bad, I forgot that that's a feast and famine.
Yeah,
so it does get rid of the Rancor. A Nambo, but still a good couple of cards.
You'd rather have a sword than the Rancor anyway.
Yes.
One of the little more awkward interactions in Roston's deck, but acceptable.
And is that Paolo?
I think so.
Paolo, a certain, or not a certain, but a almost certain and should be certain lock for the Hall of Fame this year.
6. Right. Puts Austin down to Joseph down to 6, untapping lands.
And he could put Rancor on one of those tokens if he wants.
I like that. That's pretty safe.
Oh, it says go?
Yeah, I would do that. No, it's a free Rancor. Put it on. Slap it down.
O-ring.
Oh, it's Joseph. Joseph's going to steal another one from him. That would be... if Joseph pulls this out, Austin's going to just walk away being like, what happened? I won 3 games and then I lost.
What do you O-ring?
The hero. You can't take... It's a Hero of Bladehold.
Oh, wow.
You can't
Pristine Talisman plus an O-ring?
Joseph's he's pulling it away. Oh, gosh.
Is there an angel? No angel. Okay, so
Say go. Remember,
Austin
Joseph with
has
how many cards?
access
Two. So
2.
They're gonna go. One of them's gonna go away.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage from Austin is possible.
Rancor one, sword the other. So close.
Here's the sword.
If he had,
Here's the
if he had
ranker.
another
Does he have a
ranker-
Johnny? A Johnny?
Oh, that would be pretty sweet. That would win. No, it's Gideon.
It's Gideon. Darn it.
Okay. All right, knocks him down to 2 life. Discards Micah into the Wellspring. What's his last card?
Another Lingering Souls.
Oh gosh, that doesn't help. And a Gideon Jura. Pluses Gideon.
Oh, that's a Sorin. My
F-tier.
bad. That's the big Sorin.
Doesn't even have a 3rd black mana. I think he's dead.
Big Sorin and...
Trying to claw back in. He did it once.
Okay, he can sack...
You can Micah Synth Wellspring for a swamp, but then he's 1 land short of casting Sorin.
Maybe there's some land off screen.
So it gains 2 life. For the swamp. I don't think he's got it. It's tragic, but I don't think it's there.
Well, I mean,
Souls
Lingering
is still
Souls
in the
can
yard,
still
right?
can still keep him alive.
Oh gosh.
Remember,
All
he's
right.
gaining 2 life.
Yep.
He's going to gain 3 life.
Yep. Sure, bring it on. Come on. See if he gets there. This is one of those situations. If Joseph had slow played game 2 a little bit more, he might actually be
I mean,
able to.
honestly, for reals,
Not
if he
slow
had
played. Sorry.
if he
had
had
drawn out game 2.
I would say maybe a better way to put it is if he had not played so lightning furious fast.
Right. We saw him really rushing through game 2. He didn't have to do that. Well, anyway, all right. Doors open.
Here are 2 spirits. What color are they?
White. They're not black or green.
This means that he can block the Sword of Feast and Famine.
Now, if you had
And-
the Gideon in play, is it correct to do that, or would have you saved the Ranker to put it on Gideon?
I don't know.
Yeah.
8/6 is pretty good.
Well, wins.
Well, what he can do is he can put the sword
Move
onto
the sword
Tim,
on. Yes, he can
and
knock
then
the Ranker
knock
off.
the Ranker off, activate the Gideon, recast the Rancor onto the Gideon,
And that wins.
and that wins unless there's a trick in Joseph's hand.
Which
Because
there-
remember, we know that there's not a trick. But
he might be worried
Austin
about
does
go
not
for
worry
the
about
throat.
Doomblade, go for the throat. He already saw tons of go for the throats last game. He just goes for the safe play.
Sure, he's got a couple turns to burn in extra time.
Block. Take 3.
Go down to 2.
I mean, 3. He was at that same life total last turn. It's all good.
Yeah, whatever, Got this under control. Just gonna draw a Sever the Bloodline?
Sever the bloodline. Keeping it around here.
No, that's not good
Oh,
enough.
it's not good enough. Oh, boo.
'Cause Gideon swings.
Is that a Buried Runes?
If he has Sorin, he could Sorin minus make his own life total 10. No, that doesn't work. We're digging deep here.
Sorin is opponent.
Oh, it's only opponent? Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, can't do it to yourself. It's not a Magister.
I
Sphinx.
actually have done that in playtesting before I found out from somebody that it was not that. It's like, really? Come on.
I don't see an out for him.
The out is his opponent making a mistake. And now we are in extra turns. And he
And he's
offers his
got it.
concession.
He concedes it. So, whew, in a drawn-out match, Austin Fritz makes it
Green-white
into the
beatdown.
top 8.
Hooah.
Valiantly fought by Joseph Fritz.
And
He's black-white
Austin, the
controlled that.
champion of the cats, gets a pat on the head from one of his friends. I think that is
It's Ryan O'Connor.
Rhino. Yeah, Ryan
Yeah.
O'Connor. I remember his shirt
all
from
right.
earlier.
So I have what I'm going to call our unofficial top 8 here for you, okay?
Okay, go for it.
All right,
Unofficially.
all right.
This is not official.
It's not
For those of
official.